Howdy folks, good morning, afternoon, evening, tea time, whatever the time it is in your part of the world, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's episode, we're going to go over one of the new dungeons we got to test out for Dragonflight Alpha, which is called Neltharus. And of the two we got to try out, the other one being Uldaman, this was definitely a favorite. Today I had the great opportunity of joining Sloot, as well as some of his friends, in trying out these dungeons on heroic difficulty. I didn't record the whole dang dungeon, would have been really long, so instead, we're just going to go over the boss kills. Neltharus is a 4-boss dungeon, with the first boss that you fight being Magmatus. Magmatus is, well, a magma mammoth, with tentacles coming out of it. It has a few abilities. It has magma mutation when its rage bar or magma bar reaches full. It'll deal raid-wide damage. He has tentacles on his back that will lob fireballs. Magma lob, and it'll just dodge the fire. It's a missile. There it is, right there, and it'll leave a pool on the ground. Make sure you don't stand in the pools. He also has an ability called Blazing Charge. You're supposed to, as the player, since it seems to be fixated on a player, make sure you're against a wall, so that way he charges against the wall and doesn't beeline across the whole dang battlefield. The other ability he has is called Lava Spray. It's a frontal cone of, surprise, fire damage. Make sure to dodge it. That's pretty much the encounter, at least as far as heroic difficulty goes. There's also an ability called Fire Wave that initiates after his Blazing Charge. That's about it. All in all, really fun, easy encounter. Didn't seem too difficult as far as scaling for doing heroic difficulty, being that our item levels were upped to what heroic difficulty item level you should have to make it a little bit more manageable and just test out the encounters and make sure they worked. The next boss that is up is called Chargath, Bane of Scales. Now, this encounter is a little more interesting, at least from a ranged DPS point of view. Seems to be fixating on any enemy ranged player being, surprise, me. So you'll end up getting speared. Make sure to dodge the spear initially, and you'll get a chain that's attached to you. It'll reduce your movement speed. The goal here is to have the boss trip over that chain, and he will take increased damage. Seems a little easy on paper. I definitely upset some of my teammates because I was trying to angle it in, kind of like scooch in a little bit here and there, and then like, what the hell's going on? Sorry, Sloot and friends. I hadn't done the dungeon yet, okay? I didn't know what was going on. Oh no, I like all the fire. I'm a huge sucker for when it comes to fire effects and whatnot like that in dungeon. And all the bosses actually have a cool ratio of size compared to the player. I got kind of tired of fighting smaller bosses. It didn't seem theatrical. But I like the encounter. It was a cool design. The third boss in Neltharus is called Forge Master Gorek. Surprise, he's a Forge Master. One of the abilities he has is called Might of the Forge. Forge Master leaps to his anvil, inflicting 3,000 physical damage to all players, and begins forging a volcanic axe. For volcanic axe, raises a freshly forged axe and hurls it at a player, inflicting 6,000 fire damage on impact and additional 2,000 fire damage every second for 6 seconds. Eruptions are triggered in 4 directions and inflicts 10,000 fire damage. So he's going to forge his axe, throw it at you, and it'll have a cross effect happen. Make sure to dodge the swirlies. Another ability he has more of a tank mechanic. It's called Heated Swings. Forge Master performs a pair of swings on his current target, inflicting 8,000 physical damage each and knocking the target away. He then leaps to the target location and slams down with his ignited hammer, inflicting 21,000 physical damage and 7,000 fire damage to all players within 8 yards of the impact. And last but not least, we have Forge Storm. The Forge Master throws his hammer into the forge, provoking it to fire a barrage of blazing embers across the room, inflicting 6,000 fire damage to all players within 3 yards of impact. Pretty cool encounter. I liked it a lot. And the fourth and final encounter is Warlord Targa. Warlord Targa's encounter, she has a Dragon Kiln. It's a frontal cone of fire that deals 8,000 damage to anybody in front of her. She also has a Burning Ember, which launches an empowered flame ember, inflicting 6,000 damage to all players within 7 yards of impact point. We're seeing a theme here with this dungeon. And summoning a Raging Ember. The goal is to kill that Raging Ember. It fixates onto a player and also drops a pool on the ground. The really keynote part of this encounter is Magma Shield. So she will envelop herself in a shield that absorbs a lot of damage. And you're supposed to go around the room and collect all these little piles of gold and use these abilities onto that shield in order to break it. Pretty cool. The gold piles shooting across the room that far, a little extreme. Luckily enough, as an evoker, you have plenty of mobility, and other classes also do have plenty of mobility to get there. Getting back, not so much. So in the future, maybe positioning the boss right in the center in case you're doing this on like a Mythic Plus difficulty, just so you have as much movement ability as possible. All in all, really cool encounter. I liked it. Nothing seemed like way overcomplicated. It seemed pretty straight to the point, and going in there pretty much blind, we succeeded at everything we did. Pretty nice. What do you think of these encounters? What do you think of the dungeon Neltharus? Shoot, what do you think about having our player item level scaled significantly higher to test these things out compared to the item level that was dropping? We were up to about 313 item level, and the loot that was dropping was about 270-ish. So we were overdoing or overperforming on these encounters, but I think the idea and concept here is to test out the mechanics and see and make sure that they're working. Tuning will happen in the future. Hi, Future Will here. Realized Past Will missed a hell of an opportunity. Instead of saying tuning in the future, should have said scaling in the future. We're dragons. Come on, it makes sense. It's a good joke. I like puns. Anyways, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. The next dungeon we'll be doing will be Uldaman. So we'll see you all in the next video. Bye.